The Wired magazine article was not like as big of an explosive bombshell as like how annoying the backlash has been to just regular ass, normal ass journalism from liberals. It's been incredibly disappointing to watch a bunch of people actively attack the person who wrote the article rather than like the actual information that's in the article. People have figured out that you don't have to say fake news to Wired magazine, which you like, right? If you're a liberal, you like Wired magazine, you respect their reporting. Instead of like attacking Wired magazine or coming across like you're saying fake news in the same way that like MAGA does when there's an article that they don't appreciate, you can just simply say, well, the journalist is bad. And even in my community, there's been like people that are yelling at me on TikTok too to be like, this is debunked. And it's like, it's not. None of the debunking. Like, see, there's still people saying it's been debunked. It's not debunked, man. I don't think you guys understand what words mean. It's been deeply frustrating. Because I feel like a failure that I haven't been able to educate people on like media literacy at all. You can't just like say an article is debunked and then be done with it. Okay, the only debunking that people point to is from a leftist content creator who's a part of Chorus, who basically just openly showed pieces of the contract and simply said, oh, but they don't follow through on it. Like, it's chill. The contract in and of itself is shown in those debunking videos. And the contract actually proves the actual article. Like the reporting is clear. There is not a debunking at all. I think it's been quite revealing in some respects. Like, I get it. I get feeling weak in the face of incredible misinformation campaigns coming from the Republicans and having this like network. Having this network of right-wing operatives that are clearly getting funded, right? And people go, let's fight fire with fire. That's okay. Like, I'm with it. Like, I understand it. But transparency is never a bad thing. That's number one. And number two, the issue here is that it still doesn't address the major point of contention that I've been critical of in perpetuity since the aftermath of the election. Every single time people say, hey, are you the Joe Rogan of the left? We need the Joe Rogan of the left. How do we do this? How do we do this? How do we do this? Like, they don't realize that it's not just about like how the Democrats have fallen behind on not having like a network of influencers, but also it's the policies. Bro, even me and nobody got shit on for it because I posted the headline on my IG and one of those creators attacked me in the journal saying I was spreading misinfo and the article was bogus and the people were suing. Like, okay, buddy. I mean, they're not suing anybody from what I understand. They're not doing that at all. They're just simply saying that the article's been debunked and they're moving on from it. Yeah, the article is pretty basic. It's pretty basic. It's the exact same type of article that you would see from a media outlet about like Republican operatives, which, by the way, I think there should be more investigations into the dark money networks on the Republican side, right? And there are, but it's crazy that people have just instead of attacking the actual claims being made, or not even the claims, but like tackling the new information that has been revealed in the article. I wish that they would just like I think it would have been much nicer if they and much more productive if they were like, yeah, we're getting money from the same people that have these PACs that are funding other like Democrat Party initiatives, but that's because there's an endless, unlimited money faucet on the Republican media ecosystem. That's the reason why we're doing it, and we should be more transparent about it. We should be more transparent about the funding sources, but overall, these contracts were a little bit too rigid, and we're not going to follow through on that. Of course, we don't want to maintain any sort of editorial control over these influencers, because ultimately it's best to keep these people independent. Like, ironically enough, the thing that they're yelling at Taylor Lorenz about, being a part of like a nonpartisan, publicly funded, or not publicly funded, but like public nonprofit grant system in the Omidyar network, if that was how this Chorus operation looked like, I think there would be less issues. The two major components in this that are frustrating is, like, one, the level of control that these contracts have over content creators, even if unenforced. The very fact that they have this contractual these lines written into the contract is just like completely ridiculous. That's number one. And number two, the fact that like nobody disclosed that they were getting funded by this group is also ridiculous. I think it's unacceptable. The reason why I don't like the way people reacted to it at all is because it came across as like hyper partisan and almost damn near identical to the way that like anti-intellectual Republicans respond to shit. Somewhat reactionary. That TikTok lady said that they have daily meetings to get fed talking points. That was a major red flag. I don't know if any people pointed out. I did. I pointed it out. I thought that was also strange as well. And Jasmine Crockett also responded to it as well. Jasmine Crockett is right. We're done amplifying the false and misleading wire story. Let's get back to work. This just means that y'all are becoming more effective than they'd like for y'all to be. Keep pushing and stop amplifying her bootleg story. Jasmine Crockett for US just waited on my story to defend the influencers who did not disclose the dark money funding. The funny thing about this, says Zana, this whole thing is that the actual story itself is pretty unsurprising. Run-of-the-mill dark money politricking, but the reactions to it from those implicated in it make the whole story much, much worse. Yeah, I think that there needs to be some serious reconsiderations in the aftermath of this election loss, and it kind of feels like the Democrats are not making those serious reconsiderations and redesigning the way that they do politics. And instead, they're just saying, oh, we should just put some of these, we should put some of the money into like independent media in the same way that they like, in the same way that they have like a consultant class that operates within the mainstream media infrastructure. People that go, people that go on MSNBC, CNN, and all those other panels. They thought, it'd be better if we just like funded some of these influencers to also become like MSNBC pundit style influencers, smoking on that Ahmed El-Rawai pack with Asman. That's so funny, dude. Yeah, you're right. A foreign nation engaging in an illegal assassination of the entire government of another foreign nation with your tax dollars is actually a cause for celebration. That's loser speak, brother. You have nothing. You will never get health care. Your life is dog shit. Your parents somehow had a better existence than you, right? And your material conditions are deteriorating in real time. And like a fly to shit, you just gravitate towards like all of these different unlimited violence moments from sometimes the United States of America and other times not even the US, but like US's number one ally in the region, number one asset in the region, Israel. And you're like, well, at least if we don't have anything else, at least, Israel's being violent to other countries. Sick. That's cool, man. Keep rooting for Israel to be able to blow up politicians without any sort of scrutiny whatsoever. Maybe one day they'll start, killing. Well, they have killed American citizens already. Maybe they'll just like keep killing more American citizens as well. Who knows? They're just unrestrained. They can do whatever they want. They're unaccountable anyway. One must ask the question, like, how much has your life improved since then? Has your life improved at all? Or are things getting worse? God, Republicans are so stupid, man. Just actually so stupid. They don't care. They just want your attention because you always give it. Okay, you got my attention, but your life still sucks, What do you mean? Like do you not understand that that's even, that is so pathetic. It's even more pathetic than like celebrating Israel's mass assassination protocols. That's even more pathetic than that. And the other thing is already still incredibly pathetic.
Better example lately of the depths of the literacy and comprehension crisis we are in than the responses that I have seen to this article. The kids can't read and the adults cannot comprehend what it is they are reading. That is, so I know for a fact the vast majority of people did not sit down and read this article in its entirety, and their responses are a reflection of that. Let's start with this clickbait headline that uses the word dark money as an obvious appeal to your emotion. This is clickbait. This phrase, dark money, was used to intentionally allude to some type of nefarious, underhanded activity going on. Dark money group. Focus on that. Let's go look at quickly what dark money actually is. You're an adult, you can read. Actually, let me just read it to you. Funds raised for the purpose of influencing elections by nonprofit organizations that are not required to disclose the identities of their donors. Taylor knows the organization she's talking about, Chorus and the 1630. She could have easily put that in the headlines. Chorus and the 1630 are secretly funding high-profile Democratic influencers, which we'll get into the rest of this. She could have put that in the headline. However, she knew dark money would be a clickbait headline to get you to click on the article.
Wait, what? But that is what it is. Wait, what the hell? I thought this person was like making a reasonable criticism. 1630 is dark money. That's what it is. The 1630 fund is literally dark money. When she started off with the whole like, there's no media literacy anymore. It's really frustrating. We're in a crisis where people cannot think critically. I was like, all right, she's gonna cook.
Because you do not know something exists does not mean it is kept from you. The sheer magnitude of information that is out there, readily available at your fingertips, but some of y'all do not take the time, care, or energy to go out and research. The depths of all of that could fill an ocean. Several, in fact. Let's move on to the byline. All they have to do is keep it secret and agree to restrictions on their content. If you are not a content creator or an influencer and have never signed onto an agency to be a part of a cohort or signed onto some type of brand deal, this is going to sound especially heinous to you. However, these are part of the restrictions that several...
Yo, that's crazy. Yes, if you're doing... Yes, for example, as someone who gets sponsorships from video game companies, there is a level of editorial control, but it's completely public. You have to say #ad. You have to disclose that you're sponsored by the company that's sponsoring you. When it comes to political advocacy, it's in a murky territory, so there's no legal obligation. Okay? That's number one. Number two, in terms of political advocacy being sponsored, I already have a issue with that in any case. Like I think that's like across the board, I have an issue with that regardless. Okay? So that's also frustrating because I think you're objectively not independent any longer when you get sponsored. If a sponsor has like any sort of editorial control over it, I don't understand. Like this doesn't debunk. Every single debunking of the article that I've seen is not a debunking at all. I know it's effing a little bit. Okay. It's just going to be in and out. Just micro, chill. Hopefully. What I don't understand is like these people are not even getting paid. Half of the people that are criticizing the article are not even getting paid by Chorus or 1630 or any of these other like subsidiaries, or maybe they are, I don't know, but like I don't understand why influencers are defending a structure, like political commentators or people who want to become political commentators are defending the structure of non-disclosure agreements that are designed for political advocacy. I feel like that is really bad. Okay. It's especially bad because next week when there's another investigative reporting piece that comes out on the Republican side, because this is an identical design to how they operate, how are you going to come out and be like, wow, this is really f***ed up. Look at these guys. They're grifters. They're getting paid to say these things. We knew that already. You can't say that anymore because you've been caught. You've been caught saying, no, it's good. It's good that we are doing this. It's actually a good thing that we're getting it's good that we're getting funded and not it's good that we're getting funded and not disclosing that funding. And it's good that there's like editorial control potentially. That's baked into the contract. What the hell? But what's extra crazy is the fact that people who are simply watchers, not those who engage in political advocacy or not those who are engaging in like the content creation side of things, are also saying, nah, this is a good thing. Bro, that I don't understand at all because you're literally just watching this stuff. You're not even getting the bag from the DNC or getting the bag from any of these like big donors. You're just simply, as someone who is a watcher, saying, no, I want my favorite content creators to not disclose to me who's funding them, or I want my favorite content creators to get the bag, but also simultaneously potentially have editorial control over what they're saying to me. It's very strange. Like it's extra strange. It's extra strange when it's actually a watcher who says, no, this is a good thing.
Us, when we sign on to do certain things, there are restrictions and requirements in those clauses as part of being a part of that brand deal. This is not nefarious. This is what plenty of you also sign on to as it pertains to your job. In the article, she name drops several influencers repeatedly. However, she never once disclosed who in particular these specific influencers are who even signed onto this contract. She references a group chat that these influencers were on who were reached out to by Chorus, but it was never disclosed in the entire article who actually signed on to be a part of Chorus. She is floating the names of all of these influencers without providing you a single shred of evidence that any of them are a part of the Chorus network or the 1630 network. In this article, she says the faces of several well-known influencers were featured prominently on the Chorus website beneath the giant donate button. Who, Taylor? Journalism, accurate journalism, good journalism, journalism with a level of integrity would have included either a screenshot of these influencers or their names. She includes neither, but instead...
Wait, what? So, like, good journalism should she have just, like, made stuff up? I don't understand. Like, there are sources in the article, and some of them are not going to reveal themselves. And that's a very normal part of the process. Like I've said, there's 3 different ways that a journalist, okay, will have sources in the article. Number 1, and the most common, is on the record, okay? If someone is on the record as a source, you just say who they are. You say their exact quotes in the article itself. You say what their job is, whatever. Give a little bit of background detail. The second is off the record. Okay, where there is a level of anonymity. There is a level of anonymity afforded to your source. Okay, now when it's off the record, you can still sometimes offer additional details to showcase the credibility of the source that you spoke to say, like, this person is knowledgeable because of A, B, C, or D, right? And then the last one is on background. Okay, this is journalism 101. On background means that you can't reveal any information about your source. Some people are worried about financial, or even in certain instances like criminal repercussions, and like a violation of an NDA or something. So like they will give you information on background. Now, on background information is important because it's important for the verification process. Okay. It's important for the verification process. So it gives you additional information about the story that you're writing. Okay. You understand it well, Hasan? I am a political commentator for the past 12 years professionally, and also wrote for the Huffington Post, a contributor back in the day as well. Like I of course I understand this process. I didn't study journalism in college, but it was a part of it. It was a part of my academic journey. Okay, this is pretty basic stuff. I'm a poli-sci major. I'm a comms and communication major. It wasn't journalism, but I learned about journalism as well. So that's it. You can offer anonymity. You can offer complete anonymity, and then like if something is off the record, it's just like you're not supposed to, it's just not something that you are going to reveal, right? I think I said that part correctly. I don't know if I fucked that part up. But basically, like I said, on the record, off the record, and on background. On background is the one that offers additional anonymity. And even when someone is on the record, there can still be a level of anonymity afforded to, what is this? There's still a level of anonymity afforded if your sources require it. Having said that, okay, all of that is still privately investigated in a regular news outlet by the editorial team and fact checkers, and even sometimes the legal team. Okay, so it's not just like someone writing fake bullshit in an article, because otherwise then this outlet would lose their credibility. Okay, this outlet would lose their credibility. They could potentially get sued. There are major repercussions for just like faking information. You kind of, it's no longer connected to that, so you can pull it out. I think it's connected to the charger though. The charger's connected to the mount. So the reason why Taylor didn't like reveal who the sources are is for multiple different reasons. It could be because, no, not even unless you're Fox News. Even Fox News doesn't do this. This is pretty basic. Okay, this is basic shit. Fox News is actual, not editorial team, but like Fox News' actual news team will also do this. It's just basic journalism 101. So they have fact checkers themselves. They have a legal team themselves, and they absolutely will get quotes. They will get background information about whatever the fuck they're covering, and they won't always reveal it because sometimes your sources don't want to reveal themselves. Sometimes your sources don't want to reveal even what their job is, right? So on background is even different than like an anonymous on the record quote. On background means you're just getting additional information to put the story together without revealing anything about your sources, even though that information will be sent to the editorial team. That information will be sent to the fact checkers. So it is on them to ensure the veracity of the information that is presented. So it doesn't make any sense for her to be like, why aren't you revealing who these people are?
Again, appeals to your emotion by allowing you to think that the people she named earlier that she referenced in a private group chat signed on to Chorus and the 1630, but has provided zero evidence. She only brings up one person, and the person she addresses is not even on their website. She asked for her image and her name to be removed and no longer used on fundraising purposes. If this was such a secret, nefarious, dark money organization, why is all of the information about them available? Why can you hop online?
Does she not know what dark money is? I don't think she understands what this word means. Okay? Let's explain something. A dark money organization can still, it's still a public organization that you know exists, like super PACs, for example. Okay? The part of it that makes it dark money is that the funders are not disclosed, like the actual major donors are not disclosed. So once again, this is relying on the audience that's receiving this information, not knowing the difference, and therefore, go back, she describes what she thinks it is. Yeah, that's not, saying 1630 Fund is a dark money organization is not incorrect, okay? Let's go to open secrets. This is basic stuff, all right? Dark money refers to spending meant to influence political outcomes where the source of the money is not disclosed, okay? Dark money makes actions. PACs, politically active nonprofits such as 501c4s, are generally under no legal obligation to disclose their donors, even if they spend to influence elections. When they choose not to reveal, they're considered dark money groups. She read this, bro. I don't understand why she is just like saying like, this is not a dark money. This is out and about. You can know what the name of the PAC is. You can know what their political advocacy looks like, but you just still don't know who's funding. Opaque nonprofits and shell companies may give unlimited amounts of money to super PACs. While super PACs are legally required to disclose their donors, some of these groups are effectively dark money outlets when the bulk of their funding cannot be traced back to the original donor. That's it.
Let's go back to her byline. An initiative aimed at boosting Democrats online offers influencers up to $8,000 a month to push line. Hold on to that. To push the party line. Creators in the program are not allowed to use any funds or resources that they receive as part of the program to make content that supports or opposes any political candidate or campaign without express authorization from Chorus in advance and in writing per the contract. If Taylor has no evidence of content creators and influencers who have signed on to Chorus, where is the evidence that these content creators and influencers are creating content that toes the party line? Where is the why?
Once again, it's in the contract. It is a part of the contractual obligation. And as far as I've seen, no one has actually discredited the veracity of these. They're not even claims. The veracity of these statements. Okay, like this is like that is just reading the contract. And then instead of just like uploading the contract itself, because in many circumstances, I mean, you don't do that. You don't just like that's not journalism, right? Journalism isn't WikiLeaks. I mean, WikiLeaks is journalism, but like journalism isn't always just done like WikiLeaks, where you find this evidence or you find this like legal contract and you just like upload it in full. Okay? Journalism is reading the contract, making sure that it's actually a real contract by going to other sources and then figuring out if they've had similar contracts that look exactly like this one, taking it to your editorial team, taking it to your fact checkers, having them go through it, having your legal team go through it, and then writing about the most interesting parts about the contract in the article itself. Okay? It's not about uploading the contract. What the are we talking about? Being like, well, someone just went there and wrote down what they experienced. How am I supposed to know? Pixar, it didn't happen. It's like, okay, but what the are you supposed to do? Then why are there any journalists at all? Then everything should be CCTV footage going forward. If there's no CCTV footage, then you can't trust the journalist at all, right? Well, I haven't seen the proof, so I don't believe it. Okay, but the entire purpose of mainstream media outlets is that they're supposed to be accountable to the public. They're supposed to abide by certain codes of conduct so that you can trust the actual outlet. So you can trust the veracity of their reporting, the accuracy of their reporting. I basically described all of this shit when even talking about the New York Times the first time I looked at this video. And it's so crazy that people just simply said, this was a debunked article and Hasan is stupid for just reading it without exercising any scrutiny whatsoever towards this thing. I genuinely don't understand. How much we have succumbed, even on the left flank of American politics, to anti-intellectual thought, to just totally dropping any notion of what credible reporting is supposed to look like. All you got to do is like attack this person, and if they have enough enemies, if they're, you know, if they have a decent amount of enemies, you can like very easily do so. You didn't critique it because Taylor is your stand and you want the ego stroke according to the left. Yeah, that's psychotic. There are plenty of journalists that uncover information about shit that I think is worthy for the public to know. Matthew Petty is a great example of this. Like, I mean, he wrote for Reason magazine, right? That's a libertarian magazine, but he uncovered, alongside Brace Belden and some other people, these emails between Jeffrey Epstein and like former Prime Minister of Israel Ehud Barak. These were hacked emails. They revealed it and they talked about it. And I don't agree with Matthew Petty's worldview, but it doesn't change my mind about the accuracy of his reporting. Right? It's so stupid. I'm standing on the principles that I abide by, the principles that I believe. Here, Emma's right. Wired has been one of the most reputable outlets in 2025, breaking major stories about Doge, finding metadata showing the Epstein cell video was edited, etc. They have editors and likely lawyers that consult before publication. Gonna need a better excuse than fake news. It almost feels like we're in this like different time now where that is all it takes. Like fake news is all it takes, especially if you like these guys, or you're just motivated by the fears that Republicans are doing worse. So you're willing to basically drop a lot of shit that you otherwise would criticize the Republicans over when it's your side doing it. Chorus complained and Wired still didn't issue a correction. That says it all. Reporting like this requires extensive due diligence. Where's the media literacy on the liberal side? Maybe because their favorite creators don't exactly teach critical thinking. Chorus reached out post-publication and Wired has not issued a single correction or retraction to the story. They updated a part of the story to add statements coming from Chorus, who, once again, a journalist will reach out to the subject. Not always, but she did. They just chose not to comment until the story was out. Chorus reached out post-publication and Wired has not issued a single correction or retraction on the story. Our reporting was based on copies of contracts, internal emails, text messages included discussing the deal, a recorded Zoom onboarding session, and testimony from 1630 creators. But there has been a faucet of liberal content creators like just simply saying, nah, it's fake news. And then people just take that for granted. Do you see the Pod Johns getting into it and defending it with Emma? I did see that. Like I said, it's been somewhat disappointing to see a lot of people that, you know, I'm cordial with. And it almost feels like some of these defenses kind of prove the issue with like dark money funding in political influence campaigns. because like they just are straight up